latest on the disastrous flood, which is claiming most of the Grand Forks metro area. Our News at 10 is next.
Brenda Andre lives in Iowa's News Channel.
This is the KWWL News at 10 with Tammy Winesek, weather with meteorologist Jeff Kennedy, and sports with Rick Coleman.
There will be no work week in Grand Forks, North Dakota, except the one which pertains to working with the damage left by flood and fire. Good evening, everyone. People in Grand Forks, North Dakota and East Grand Forks, Minnesota will always remember their community now before and after this great flood. An already difficult year turned catastrophic this weekend when a levee broke in Grand Forks. The water from the Red River flooded 70% of the North Dakota side and all of the Minnesota side. But then it got worse. Fire broke out in downtown. There was no water pressure, so the fire raged out of control in the middle of a flood. It damaged or destroyed 11 buildings. The fire started Saturday and burned for 24 hours. Helicopters borrowed from the Forestry Service dumped 3,000 pounds of water a scoop onto the businesses. Eventually, it did the trick, and the fires were out. Only smoldering shells were left.
Walk away from those homes, walk away from those buildings. We will rebuild, and we will be stronger, and we will be in it together.
Mayor Owens lost her own house in the flood. She's pleading with residents to comply with evacuation orders, which cover about 75% of the town. 50,000 people live there. 30,000 have left already. Authorities evacuated Grand Forks' largest hospital. All 190 patients had to be airlifted to higher ground.
A number of us have already lost our own homes and stuff, and have sent our families out of town, so it's real tough to see the hospital go, too.
Many people are staying at the nearby Air Force Base, but many others are leaving.
I'm Chris Gitch in Waverly. For Glenn Olson, Karen Barnes, and their 2 children, this is the first home-cooked meal they've had in a while. Floodwaters chased them out of their home in East Grand Forks, Minnesota, and into a hotel room. But the hotel they were staying in was evacuated as well. That's when they decided to stay with relatives in Waverly.
I haven't seen my house in 3 days now. I don't know how far under it's gone. It's hard. I don't know where it's at right now, if it's even on the foundation.
Leaving didn't come easy. Glenn considered sandbagging his house. He estimated he would need 9,000 bags to do it. Unfortunately, the bags would cost him 50 cents apiece and another $1,500 for the sand to fill them. Even when the water started pouring in the basement, it was an agonizing decision.
Water was actually running down streets. And, the power was being shut off. You couldn't drink the water anymore. You had to, you couldn't even go to the bathroom anymore. So we knew it was time to go.
After leaving the home and hotel room behind, Glenn and Karen were left with one last decision.
Go to Crookston, which was 25 miles away, and live in the high school with several thousand people. And we decided to come to Iowa or go camping. We come to Iowa.
Glenn and Karen's son, Eric, doesn't seem to mind his new temporary surroundings. You like Iowa so far, then?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because it's dry.
Despite all the damage they know is waiting for them, Glenn and Karen say they will return to their home. In Waverly, I'm Chris Gitch for Iowa's News Channel.
The family is staying with a cousin in Waverly, and then in another case for a Waterloo woman, the flood has meant more time on the phone. Betty Anthony is worried about her sister Clarice Vick, who lives in Crookston, Minnesota. Crookston is about 35 minutes away from the heart of the flooding in Grand Forks, and we spoke to Clarice on the phone earlier.
Even our Air Force Base, which is stationed, it's about to go.
But the volunteers rally and decide they'll work all night to add another 2 feet of sandbags to their dam.
We're continually watching for trouble spots that could erupt, soft spots.
10 a.m., a quickly assembled community meeting. Tired volunteers have now been working 36 hours non-stop to save their homes.
They need everyone up there to form a line, pass the sandbags up.
Work, not evacuation, is on their minds. As Mike Ableiter stacks sandbags, not all the neighbors share his faith the dike will hold.
We just decided that, you know, if that dike does go, there's going to be a lot of traffic in and out, and I just soon get them out now while getting's good.
Others also decide to leave, but most vow to stay, no matter what. And in Grand Forks, here's what no matter what looks like. The fire has been burning all night, destroying the heart of the city. Unable to put the flames out from the ground, firefighters attack from the air. First, planes dump fire-retardant chemicals. Then helicopters unleash a deluge, thousands of gallons of water scooped from the flood itself. Finally, they bring the flames under control, but not before 3 blocks of Grand Forks Business District have been reduced to smoldering ruins. By Monday afternoon, the Red River is running nearly 26 feet above flood stage. Grand Forks is a ghost town. Most of its residents have fled. 90% of it is underwater. An American city has been totally devastated.
What they have endured is enormous. How they are enduring it is remarkable.
1 p.m. today, the crisis in Grand Forks is so bad that President Clinton flies over the area and promises up to $500 million in federal aid. In Fargo, the homes of Ab Leiter and his neighbors are intact and dry, so far. But the threat hasn't passed. The river may rise even higher. Authorities say there's only a 50-50 chance their dike will hold.
You told me you'd never worked this much in your life, the physical labor involved. Is it really worth all the trouble?
I think it is. We're saving the community. We're saving, you know, people's lives, basically.
We'll stay until the last possible moment. We'll fight it until the last possible moment, and then when it can't be won, then we'll go.
The crest of the flood is slowly moving downriver. All the towns that lie ahead of that wall of water are to the north. Now Canadians are bracing for their turn. Evacuations have already begun.
This is Dateline Tuesday for April 22nd, with reports tonight from Chief Consumer Correspondent Lee Thompson and Len Cannon. Still ahead, how some landlords are housing their relatives and using government money to do it.
There's nothing wrong with someone taking care of their family. I think there's something wrong with them asking the federal government to take care of their family for them.
And you pay the bill.
I think I'll take Ralphie for a drive.
News is next.
Iowa's News Channel.
This is the KWWL News at 10 with Tammy Winesek, weather with meteorologist Jeff Kennedy, and sports with Rick Coleman.
Good evening, everyone. A breaking story to report out of Washington County tonight. Deputies say a 38-year-old woman has apparently drowned in the Skunk River northwest of Brighton. Officers have been searching the river all afternoon. They've called off the search this evening because of darkness. They say they will resume the search at 7:30 tomorrow morning. The Washington County Rescue Squad, Brighton's Fire Department, the Iowa Search and Rescue Squad, and the Department of Natural Resources will assist in the search tomorrow. The woman's name is not being released. On to other news of the day. As many think of heading back to work tomorrow, the president is asking you to go an extra mile. He wants Americans to make volunteerism a big priority. President Clinton and former Presidents Bush and Carter kicked off the Volunteer Summit by cleaning up one of Philadelphia's toughest neighborhoods today. Retired General Colin Powell was there as well.
Lift up a fellow American and to put them on the road to success in this wonderful country of ours. Frankly, I believe that as children of God, we can never fulfill our own ambitions until we help our brothers and sisters to fulfill theirs.
Former Presidents Bush and Carter will also participate in the official call for help tomorrow morning. One of the president's many goals is to get volunteers to spend time with troubled kids. One such volunteer isn't wasting any time doing that. As Chris Gitch reports, he was at the state training school in Eldora today to try to make a difference.
Scripture lesson this morning is...
It's been a number of years since Craig Wolf listened to the Sunday sermon at the Iowa State Training School. In the 1960s, he spent time at Eldora as a student, so he knows what these boys are all about.
I can say that I'm your big brother, so to speak, because I've been there.
Now Craig is volunteering his time and experience trying to make a difference. The cold hard fact is Eldora is the last stop for these boys in the juvenile justice system. Deb Haskin knows how volunteers can make a difference.
The one-to-one, developing that positive interaction, and I think the boys will see some success with that.
Deb says a primary goal at Eldora is to educate, and volunteers are a wealth of knowledge. It's really not a volunteer shortage at Eldora per se. There's already more than 150 volunteers working with kids out here. However, what these volunteers would like to see is more people out in the communities working with these kids before they ever get here. Chaplain Jim Key is also the training school's volunteer director.
But maybe if we had more volunteers in the community that would help get out and work with these kids in various ways, and athletics and hobbies and various things, it might keep them occupied and keep them off the streets.
And most importantly, volunteers provide hope.
I care very much about them, and it just doesn't have to be the way it is right now. Things can change.
Craig and other volunteers hope they can make that change come around. In Eldora, I'm Chris Gitch for Iowa's News Channel.
And tomorrow in Neighborhood News at 5, we will catch up with some other Eastern Iowans who hope to make a difference. They are already at the Presidential Summit in Philadelphia. And many people in Bellevue aren't even hesitating to volunteer their time and money to a murder victim's family. They're helping Marty Buddy's wife and children. Buddy was beaten to death last month. 2 men have since been arrested for his murder, but residents say the family needs a lot of support, and that's why they held a benefit auction and bake sale today. Nearly 1,500 people came out for those.
It's important that our community bonded together for this important event. We realize the importance of supporting one of our own, and we all felt that we should pitch in together and help the family out.
The auction was going on late into the evening, so a total amount raised has not yet been counted. You can still contact, though, the Mercantile Bank of Bellevue if you want to donate as well. In the upper Midwest, the Red River is claiming more victims this weekend. The biggest threat for flooding now is on the U.S.-Canadian border, where the river is expected to crest. Residents in southern Manitoba are bracing for the province's worst flood in nearly 150 years. They're building a huge dike and can only hope that it holds against the turbulence of the rushing river. Meantime, in Grand Forks, North Dakota, the waters are still falling. People have been allowed back in for short visits to their houses. Some are breaking the rules, though, and are staying in their homes. The National Guard says it won't kick those people out, but no one is being encouraged to return because the city still does not have running water or electricity. North Dakota residents who've been staying in Iowa for the past week, of course, are anxious to go back home. They are thinking of doing that yet this week, and Sarah Murphy reports how they have no idea what they will find when they get there.
No school at the university, the med school have 6 foot of water in the basement and all that.
The Red River flooding hits very close to home for this family. Karen Barnes' family and her parents live in the Grand Forks area. The flooding forced them all to Iowa, where they're getting a chance to visit relatives.
Well, that's one good thing, and I'll probably get to go mushroom hunting too, which I would really, really enjoy.
The family is trying to make light of a very difficult situation. They know reality is back in the Grand Forks area, and most likely it's bad. But they really don't know what's going on back home.
That's the hardest part, is not knowing. You know, if I knew my house was completely gone, then I could deal with that, you know, and come to some kind of closure.
Our house is about 6 blocks from the TV station. We haven't seen our house yet.
That may change very soon for Karen's parents. They're heading back to the flooded area Wednesday. They'll be staying at a motel, but they're hoping to get to see their home.
We hope maybe Thursday we can get in to check out our place and take out some more things that we'd like to have with us to
just live from day to day, and I won't help.
It may be weeks before they can actually move home and begin cleaning up. In Cedar Falls, I'm Sarah Murphy for Iowa's News Channel.
And another Red Cross volunteer from Cedar Rapids is heading to North Dakota. Denise Piper is flying to Fargo. She'll work as a nurse for 2 weeks. At least 3 other Red Cross volunteers from the Cedar Rapids area are already in North Dakota. And Jeff Kennedy joins us now with a first look at our weather.